I'll never forget my little sister's 5th birthday, but not for a positive reason. It was at a tea room type place that did princess parties for kids' birthdays. I didn't want to participate in any of the activities or princess interactions since I was worried about people thinking I was a baby, like a typical tough 6th grader. Instead, I was playing on my DS in a chair in the hallway when a random woman approached me and asked, "Hey, you're Gloria's kid, right?" Gloria is my mom's name, so I told her, yeah. This lady tells me that she's my Aunt Sarah and that I was probably too little to remember the last time we saw each other. She started talking about how big I had gotten and asked how I was doing in school. I was pretty used to these kinds of interactions with relatives, so I didn't question it at all and gave the usual answers. Sarah then told me that she brought a large dollhouse as a birthday present and needed help carrying it out of her car. She told me that she also had brought another cake and offered me the first slice if I helped her. I was almost 12, so I was taught about creeps and the fact that this was an almost textbook kidnapping scenario. But like I said, these kinds of interactions were super common in my family. I also admit that I made the mistake of trusting Sarah more because she was a woman, so I agreed to help and followed Sarah out the back door. The car wasn't parked. It was still running with the man in the driver's seat. Sarah could tell that the man being there made me suspicious, so she quickly told me that was my Uncle Dennis and started urging me to hurry with the dollhouse before the cake frosting melted. I got a bad gut feeling. Why hadn't she asked Dennis to help her carry the dollhouse in? And why did they keep the car running when there was plenty of empty spots to park in? I stood where I was and refused to move. Sarah's tone became much less friendly as she was now commanding me to come to the car. Sarah tried to tug my jacket sleeve, but I swatted her hand away and yelled at her to stop. She looked furious, and for a second I thought Dennis was about to step out of the car. Thankfully, we all heard my mom and aunt loudly yelling my name. Sarah jumped in the car, and she and Dennis both took off. I ran through the back door and met my mom and aunt halfway inside. I immediately told them what happened. My mom hugged me and told me she was so sorry and that everything would be okay, while my aunt told the tea room workers. They basically put the tea room into lockdown and had all the kids gather in one room to make sure no one else had gone missing. Thankfully, no one had. The police eventually came to speak to me about what had happened. I told them as much as I could about Sarah and Dennis. The police officers I spoke to promised me that they would get back to me and my mom if they found out anything new, but we never heard anything back from the police about Sarah or Dennis, or whatever their real names were. As far as we know, they've never been caught. I still have no idea how Sarah knew my mom's name. I just try to be grateful that I'm okay and avoid thinking about what would have happened to me if I hadn't listened to my gut and had followed Sarah to the